Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eric van der Klee. Very pleased to be here at Crypto Finance Conference US. Back in January, I was invited by some interesting people in Switzerland, really interesting people. I'll tell you a bit more about them in a second, to come and participate in Crypto Finance Conference St. Moritz. This was the first one in Switzerland. It was, without doubt, one of the most important events, I think, that I went to. I learned so much. It was so terrific. So when they invited me to come to this hardship posting at in California, I just could not resist. It was absolutely terrific opportunity. But it doesn't happen by accident. The group that got together are partly, they're called the board, right? But it's not the right word for them. It's more like the godfathers of crypto in Switzerland. Let me introduce you to the chief godfather, Tobias Reichmuth. Tobias, please come up to the stage.
Thank you, Eric. Good afternoon, everybody. Honestly, I'm very happy to be here. It fills me with a certain pride that our conference, which really started in January in St. Moritz, as we heard, now made it over the ocean to America. My name is Tobias Reichmuth. I'm the initiator and one of the board members of this conference. And so one of your hosts today, come to me if you don't like something, come to me if you have questions. I will introduce you to my fellow board members as well. What a year we had. Last year, at this time, September 2017, the Bitcoin was roughly at the price where it is today. And then when we had the conference, it was roughly 10,000 up at 17 or 18,000. So, normally when you start speaking at a conference, you need to have this funny opening remark with a joke. But I think I have something better to grab your attention. Let me tell you where I believe Bitcoin will be by the end of this year again. I made a bet with my board members that it will be above 15,000 again, and I still stand to that bet. What we see happening right now is that some bigger players are coming to this market. So therefore, I really believe that demand for Bitcoin and the other major cryptocurrencies will rise again. So my bet is on 15,000 by the end of the year. What happened? Over the last year, I believe the major thing happening was that professionalism was coming to this industry. And this was a much needed professionalism coming to the industry. I remember when I started buying Bitcoin some 2 years ago, I honestly was sometimes surprised by how intransparent this was happening. And what you have now, over the last 12 months, you suddenly have big players which brought a lot of professionalism in. Some people now want to get a bank license for their crypto operation. This is good. This market is becoming mature. Okay, we had a hype last year, it went down a bit again, but what is happening right now is I think we are here to stay. We become a professional market, major players are coming in, big banks start to put Bitcoins and other currencies into the portfolio of their clients. What also happens is that the regulators have started to look a bit at what is happening in this field. That does not make it easier, but it's needed. Because the wild, wild west adventure, I believe, is over. We are now in a field where you have big money happening. You need to protect the smaller investors. And this is happening right now. It still leaves a lot of open questions, and many of those questions will be addressed in the podiums during this conference. I'm very interested to hear myself from the leaders in this market what they see happening right now. Talking about regulators, what is also happening is we have a certain regulatory arbitrage happening. What does this mean? There is a competition between Switzerland, Malta, Liechtenstein, some Asian places. They all want to attract the crypto industries. The problem is the regulators not necessarily follow the politicians or the crypto societies and so on. But you definitely see that many of the marketplaces in banking want to attract crypto ventures. Switzerland was named at our conference in St. Moritz by Federal Chancellor Schneider-Ammann, so that's one of our ministers, was named Crypto Nation, Switzerland. And so this is great, but now we need to follow on that. The problem in Switzerland is that the major banks don't yet accept crypto companies to open an account with them. This makes it quite difficult to start a company, while Liechtenstein, which is a very, very tiny neighboring country to Switzerland, does exactly that. There the banks are a bit more open. So we see competition in the market, that's good. What we also see is new topics coming up, challenges ahead. security tokens versus utility tokens. I think that's a major topic, and I'm very interested to hear what our speakers have to say on that topic too. Transaction speed is a topic. So Bitcoin, as it is today, will not be able to be a major payment, but others are coming up to that, and maybe there is some progress in Bitcoin as a technology as well. Regulatory framework, I mentioned that. Energy consumption, and we should address this during this conference as well. Is this a sustainable way of doing finance if we talk about transactions with Bitcoins? Or do we need, the Lightspeed network and so on coming up? Storage, how do you store your cryptocurrencies in a safe place and at the same time you have access to them? I think that's also something we have to address. Where is technology in that field? How is tax authorities treating Bitcoin gains and so on, or other cryptocurrencies gains for that matter? So many questions come to that. What is the aim of this conference? I think we have two major aims. One, we want to educate you investors. This is an investor conference. It's not a technology conference. We don't talk about how a hard fork really works, but what we want to know is how we as investors can be active in this market. How do we protect ourselves? How do you do risk management? How do you find out early enough in what you should invest, with whom you should invest? Who is the reliable players in this market? And the second major goal, and that's also my goal, and that's why we as a board are here together with you here, is networking. Networking among fellow investors, networking together with the industry leaders, and those industry leaders we clearly have here. I think we have a lineup of speakers second to none, and this is on a global basis, I say this. Without much ado, I would quickly like to ask my fellow board members, and I would also like to ask Andrea and Nicolo, the two executive managers of this conference, to come to stage with me, so that you know who you can go to if you have any question you would like to discuss anything. Please. So we have Eric Sarasin, George Rouvener, Sam Mantz, Mark Bernecker, and then on the left side we have Andrea and Nicolo Stör, two brothers. They are responsible for the whole thing happening here. So far, I think you did a great job. Maybe you can quickly tell us, in very short words, what will be the program of the conference.
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon, all together. I'd like to welcome you here at the Crypto Finance Conference at the Ritz-Carlton. Yeah, who would have thought that one day I would be standing on a stage with my brother in California? Here we are now. See, crypto space doesn't only bring together people from all over the world, but also brothers. So really nice. This would not have been possible without the support from our sponsors, you as participants, our speakers, and the great CFC team. So a big thanks to all of you for supporting us in our endeavor of bringing the CFC to the US. And now Nicolo will give you a short overview about the program for the next days, and I'm really much looking forward to meeting all of you in person during the next 3 days.
Perfect, thank you. So today the focus is on the basics, so it's an introduction. We will have together a dinner tonight, we'll have a reception on the ocean lawn. Tomorrow it will be regulation, STOs, as Tobias said, and on the last day we have an outlook and use cases. So I would say let's start and let this conference going.
Very good. We wish you a very good conference.